Hi, hello. We're going to be talking about the 5-star shiny Chi-Yu, which you can do until September 14th, and what Pokemon you can use if you want to grind out shiny Chi-Yu for Herba Mystica, or if you want to contribute towards the 1 million defeats. I don't think Chi-Yu will have any problems with, since Tinglu, which is like the most unpopular of the four, got 2 million defeats, and everyone really just likes Chi-Yu shiny compared to a lot of the other shinies. So we're going to go over what Chi-Yu can do, and then the counters that we have. I'm going to do a 4-up like I did for the last two videos. I think people like the 4-up of seeing how fast a Pokemon can defeat something in real time, especially because people say that their Pokemon is really good, and then we line it up with something. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much, because like so many Pokemon are able to defeat Chi-Yu or these other raid bosses, but for the sake of is it truly fast, and for the sake of if I'm playing by myself and I just want to grind out Herba Mystica, saving 2-3 minutes a raid really does add up. Obviously, if you do this with a group, it would go way quicker, and I made sure the 4 Pokemon that we pick here in the later part of the video all still work with group play. I just do them in a solo sense, just so the variables line up properly and there's like no wonky business happening. Okay, so let's go over Chi-Yu's moveset. It's the simplest of the 4. It has Heat Wave, Flamethrower, Snarl, and Dark Pulse, and then it will open up with Runation, and it will randomly target somebody, and then it will be the Fire-type Terra. If you bring a physical attacker, there is a chance you can get burned. That is annoying, because being burned reduces your physical damage by half, if you did not know that. And then if you bring a special attacker, you will get spammed with Snarl, or possibly, because the raid boss isn't that smart, it just kind of picks its moves by random in this situation. And using Snarl against a special attacker is also not great. So Chi-Yu does have answers to both. There's a Pokemon we have that can't get burned at all, which is really great, and it's a physical attacker, but we'll get to that in a second. And then after September 14th happens, the shiny will be distributed that Friday. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but the Friday after the 14th. Is, well, technically Thursday night for US people, but Friday UTC. Yeah, you have a chance of being burned, and you have a chance of your special attack being lowered because of Snarl. Being burned is a bit easier to fix because you can just heal cheer. You get 3 heal cheers. If you get a 10% or a 20% burn 3 times in a raid, and you have to use all your heal cheers, that would be unfortunately unlucky. But I think being burned is much better than your special attack being lowered over and over again. I'll get the 2 first Pokemon out of the way. We used Urshifu, which could be burned, and then I used Kyogre, which could be snarled. And while they both work, and I'm sure comments will be like, I used Urshifu, I used Kyogre, I'm not saying they don't work. I am saying that they are not the top 4 of fastest clears by yourself, even though my raid builds are for group play. I think Kyogre is really good for group play because it sets rain, and it does good damage, and it holds its own. But it does have the problem of being snarled. And Urshifu's overall performance just was not that great compared to the other 4, especially for Urshifu being a legendary. And also Urshifu's like not super easy to get compared to some other Pokemon. So that's probably why there's like an Urshifu in the background while I'm talking. Let's go to the 4 Pokemon we do end up using, which is Araquanid, Dreadnought. What are the other ones? They're on screen right now. Hisuian Samurott and Tentacruel. So 3 of these are physical attackers, and Tentacruel is a special attacker. And you might be saying, well, if Tentacruel is a special attacker, you have to worry about Snarl. No, actually, because Tentacruel has the ability Clear Body. So Snarl does not actually affect it, except for the 2 or 3 times where your ability gets shut off for that turn, which you're just hoping that you don't get snarled for that turn. But even if you do get snarled, there's a solution there for Tentacruel. I want to talk about Araquanid first, because Araquanid has a really cool ability. So if there's one thing you take away from this video is how cool Araquanid's ability is. Araquanid has a dog water attack stat of 70. It's not very good. But its ability Water Bubble, 1, increases all water damage by 50%. So it actually increases all the water moves you're going to use. On top of that, Water Bubble prevents you from getting burned completely. Araquanid, on paper, is really good here with like Liquidation, which has a 20% chance of lowering the defense. and then it has Water Bubble. Also, Araquanid gets Entrainment, which removes... You can entrainment the Chi-Yu to remove the 20% special defense drop from Beads of Ruin, so that helps out the entire team. So a standard Araquanid is pretty much just using entrainment on Chi-Yu and then spamming Liquidation. I don't think using like Rain Dance really makes it faster. I did try both Metronome and Shell Bell. Shell Bell was just like more consistent overall with the damage that Chi-Yu puts out. But the other cool thing about Araquanid, and why I don't think people should write it off, is if you are playing with Kyogre or these other Pokemon, you could entrainment them. So, like, for example, Kyogre's ability is only good at the start of the match. All it does is set Drizzle when it comes in, and then that ability is useless for the rest of the match. So if you entrainment the Kyogre standing next to you, now that Kyogre is getting a permanent 50% water boost for the entire match, on top of Kyogre's amazing 150 special attack. Like I said, Araquanid's attack stat is 70. So Kyogre's 150 special attack, plus the water bubble ability, plus being in the rain is just crazy damage. So I actually think Araquanid is really, really cool. And your takeaway is Araquanid can still do this entire raid by itself. Araquanid gets like some other moves too, but the bread and butter is just like entrainment liquidation. This moves on to Dreadnought, which has 110 attack, so much better than Araquanid, obviously, but doesn't have the water bubble thing. You could give it water bubble with entrainment if you're standing next to Dreadnought. You're just doing the same thing. You're just doing liquidation. Now, Dreadnought, through an egg move, does get Gastro Acid, which does ultimately what entrainment does. It will remove the ability from Chi-Yu. So that's why I did want to test Dreadnought, because you have the ability to remove Chi-Yu's ability, which helps out the entire team, and then you're just spamming liquidation. So I think Dreadnought is fine. If you're watching this video, Dreadnought and Araquanid pretty much complete Chi-Yu at the same time. But the two Pokemon that end up clearing much faster, and I did try other Pokemon, I'm only doing a 4-up, is Hisuian Samurott and Tentacruel. Tentacruel, I think, is probably the best here, even though Samurott defeats it about 5-10 seconds faster. The reason being is Tentacruel can surf if you don't want to set Rain Dance, but if you do want to set Rain Dance, you can Weather Ball. So if there's multiple Tentacruels, only one needs to set Rain Dance for Weather Ball. So Weather Ball does 100 damage in the rain. Surf does, is it 80 or 90? It's a little bit stronger. But obviously with the rain up, you do even more damage. But Tentacruel gets access to Acid Spray. So that will let all the special attackers, Kyogre standing next to you, or other Tentacruel standing next to you, do even more damage. So multiple Tentacruels can clear the raid quicker than probably any combination of Pokemon, just because of Acid Spray and the Clear Body ability preventing your stats from being lowered. Also, Tentacruel's special defense is actually really, really good. Tentacruel, I think, is awesome. If you've never built a Tentacruel, we built one for, I think, Walking Wake. It was a grass Tentacruel. I actually didn't change the stats that much. I think I just changed the nature to Modest. But I think Tentacruel is really cool here if you just wanted to build something new, or you wanted to shiny hunt a Tentacruel for the sake of this raid. This will probably be the only video in the world where you hear somebody say Tentacruel is really cool. Going through Hisuian Samurott, it has the Sharpness ability, which increases the damage from slicing type moves by 50%. It gets access to two moves that take advantage of Sharpness. One is Razor Shell, which is base power 75 and 95% accuracy, and has a 50% chance of lowering the defense, which is more than Liquidation's 20%. And then it gets access to Aqua Cutter, which has an increased critical hit ratio, 70 damage, and 100% accuracy. So in this video, we're using Razor Shell because of the 50% chance of lowering the defense. So we get 3 defense drops using Razor Shell, and that's why in this video you're seeing so much damage. This would work really great standing next to an Araquanid or a Dreadnought or any other physical attackers like Urshifu. But I think Razor Shell ends up being better than Aqua Cutter, even though Aqua Cutter has a high critical hit. The defense drops stack, and the defense drops benefit the team, and 50% is really good, much better than 20% from Liquidation. So you do still focus energy to increase your critical hits. You can see in our video we end with a critical hit. So there is a little bit of RNG with Samurott compared to Tentacruel. I do think Tentacruel is the best out of the 4 we used for team play, solo, and just like consistency. But I think Samurott is also really fun. So that's it. Yeah, you would still focus energy even though you're using Razor Shell. You could have both Razor Shell and Aqua Cutter. I just think you're fishing for the -1 is really good. So if you have like 2 or 3 Samurotts standing next to each other, the likelihood of getting a bunch of defense drops is really, really, really high. So I think that would be fun to do as well if you're playing with friends. Ultimately, the takeaway from this video, I guess, even though there's multiple takeaways, one, you learned about Water Bubble, and two, if you're going to go the special attack, you and your friends should all build Tentacruels, and if you and your friends want to go the physical attack, you and your friends should all build Samurats. And then that would be the fastest way to complete Chi-Yu, either solo or together. So thank you for watching. When the other 7-star raids come out, I will make videos for those. So I know we have Gudra, Dragapult, and I think Hydreigon are the last 3 7-stars for the pseudo legendaries. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.